Hi, I'm Ryan Feit, CEO and co-founder of Seed Invest. Appreciate you guys having me here today. I'll just give you a little bit of background on Seed Invest and how we got involved in the Jobs Act and got everything started, and then go ahead and demo it for you. So kind of the background is I started in banking. I was at a bank called Lehman Brothers that some of you guys might have heard about. So I did banking there. I left summer of '07, about a week before everything started to get really ugly, so my timing was pretty good. And then went on to a private equity firm called Wellspring that was in New York. And went back to business school, and during my second year when I was finishing up at Wharton, I basically came across a couple guys that had been lobbying for a year to try and change 80-year-old U.S. securities laws. I got involved in that effort mostly because being at kind of in later stage finance, there is kind of a model. I guess the best way to put it is that I went back to school because I wanted to get into something more entrepreneurial, and I was actually shocked at how challenging it is for startup companies and small businesses to raise capital, and just kind of how the model hasn't changed in a long time. Yeah, because the securities law is impossible, it's been impossible to actually really use the internet. And so it made a lot of sense to me that companies and investment bankers and investors should be able to use the internet, which has pretty much transformed almost every industry out there over the last 20 years, but hasn't touched early stage capital formation. And so because of that, I got involved in this effort. Ultimately, we got the Jobs Act signed, and so the part of the Jobs Act that gets the most press is related to non-accredited investors, and I know a lot of people have a lot of concerns about that, and a lot of those concerns might be justified. It's still very TBD, as I think a lot of you guys know, but the piece of the Jobs Act that's, I think, really important and a lot harder to argue about is the fact that it really allows, investment bankers, investors, companies to use the internet to make transactions a lot more fluid, to hopefully get more capital to companies that need it and make that process more efficient. And so basically that flash forward as Seed Invest right now, we are a funding platform for accredited investors and right now startups and small businesses. We have about 650 accredited investors on the platform that are looking to invest in companies. We have about 130 companies a month that are applying to raise capital. And so in the last few months, we've had a few successful fundraisers, but as we've been building our technology over the past year, we've had a lot of interest from angel groups, from some just organizations with entrepreneurs and investors, and then also from investment banks and investment advisors to use the technology we built to facilitate their own transactions. And so because of that, we basically have built what we're about to show you, which is Seed Invest Groups, which is, I believe, very powerful for investment banks. And so I've been speaking to a few folks from NIBA about allowing NIBA members to potentially use our technology, because if you can imagine, what we've been doing at Seed Invest is we've been allowing angel groups to be syndicating deals to each other across the country. And so the same thing is very possible for NIBA, where different investment banks and investment advisors can use an online platform to facilitate syndication of deals and sharing fees with each other, and also making the process of investing in a company a lot easier. So I'm done talking. I'll walk you through it, and feel free to jump in with questions, or happy to take questions at the end. So basically what you see here, and I don't know if is Doug in the room by chance? Okay, so I use ViewTrade as an example. I'm glad he's not in the room. I can't get in trouble. So basically this is a company overview page. So if you're an investment advisor or investment bank, you can imagine this being basically your home page where potential investors and companies will come, and so it has a little bit about your company, what types of deals you're looking to do, and then if you scroll down, you'll basically have an overview of any of the managers. So you can imagine this would be, if you're an angel group, this is a manager. If you're an investment bank, this could be the registered reps or whoever is managing the deals. And then if you scroll down, you can have list investors as well. So if you go back up, this is just general overview page. If we click on workspace in the top right, I'll take you to more of the meat. So the first thing you see is notifications. And so every investor that you have in your network, in addition to all the managers, have their own news feed. So as a manager, I can see any investments that are made by any investors in my network. If, let's say, another investment bank or another NIBA member shows me a deal, I'll get a notification about that via email and also on the site. If somebody that I'm showing the deal to expresses interest or looks at the documents, I'll get a notification. So this is kind of a place where all the different information that's happening is all consolidated, and we track everything. So if we click on Deal Funnel, basically here I can see 3 different types of deals. So the first deal on the right is a deal that's under review. So in this case, another NIBA member has a deal, steer clear, that they think might be interesting for me, and so they syndicate it to me, and it's under review. And what that means is that until I approve the deal, only I can see it. Once I approve it, all of the investors in my database will get a notification about the deal, and they can then let me know if they're interested in the deal. So the second type of company in the middle, DietBet, is a company that's under consideration. So I've said, okay, I think this deal is worth showing to my investors. I'm going to click approve. Once you do that, all of your investors in your database will get an automatic notification that DietBet is under consideration. Just come and tell me whether you're interested and for how much would you potentially be interested in. So one of the challenges for broker-dealers, investment bankers, even investment groups is that a lot of times you do all your due diligence and you don't really know if there's interest in a deal or not, and you waste a lot of your time. So we allow you to quickly kind of get a sense of whether or not there's interest, and then you spend your time and effort on due diligence at that point. So if we click on interested here on DietBet, basically here, if I'm an investor, I'll come and let's say I'm interested in investing 25 grand. If the diligence shakes out, yeah, whatever he's typing, economics are amazing, and then he clicks submit, and right away, as a manager, I get a notification that whoever it is interested in 25 grand. You can see now there's 25 grand of member interest. That's all tracked. And then the other thing that I can do is I can share this deal with another NIBA member. So if we click on syndicate, now I can basically type in anything. I'm not even sure if the internet's going to work, but yeah. So anyways, you can send an email to somebody who's not on the platform and let them know about it, or if there are other NIBA members, or we have a number of angel groups and VCs on our platform, you can also show the deals to them and then track if any other investors in the other networks are interested in it. If there is interest from another NIBA member, for instance, you can then work out a fee split. So just click syndicate, and so now Georgetown Alumni Angels, who he sent it to, got a notification about the deal. So the third piece is once there's enough interest in the deal, you can then launch the deal. And what that does is it makes a live fundraise where investors can actually come to the site and make live investments on the site, which I'll show you, which is something that I don't think anybody was doing before us. So it's pretty powerful. So this is kind of this is a live deal, and this is this is kind of my dashboard as a manager. So I can see this deal's been syndicated 2 times. I can see who syndicated it to what groups, and I can figure out if there's interest from the other groups. And then I can see that 6 of my investors have invested, and I can see how much they invested. And then deal terms, if I have specific fees, whether it's if it's a placement fee or carry or whatever it is, you can set your own fees. And then if we click on deal diligence on the next tab, this basically is a summary of kind of my diligence findings on the deal for investors to look at. You can also track any conversations that you've had with any potential investors here. So we spent a lot of effort making sure everything was very compliant as far as FINRA and the SEC, and so through the internet you can track all this data which makes your life a lot easier. And I think we're the only platform that is, we demoed this for the SEC and FINRA in the last few months, and have gotten pretty good feedback from them, and have actually been helping them think through a lot of this, how to use kind of the internet to facilitate transactions. So, so if you click on deal activity, this again is similar to what you guys saw at the beginning, where I can see any investments, anyone who's interested, it's all right here. So it makes your life a lot easier. And then now I'll show you what it's like to look at a company from an investor standpoint. So click on View Company Profile. So this company, for example, is Listener. They're looking to raise 750 grand. They've raised 500 grand so far. So if I scroll down, the first thing you see is a deck, so an investor pitch deck on the company. If we click on video, usually companies will have a overview video from the team talking about their idea. It's kind of their live pitch. If you scroll down, just information on about the company, about any previous investors, about if they're part of an incubator, an accelerator, and then information on the team and advisors is all here, board members. So pretty good way to do diligence on the team. If we scroll up, we'll check out the data room now. So click on data room. Basically, we built our own data room. I think it's a lot better than Intralinks, but I'm biased. I've used Intralinks a lot. And this basically allows you to kind of set up the data room however you want. So usually people come to the private folder and look at, you can have the model, the cap table, et cetera. If you click on legal, people will use it for their legal docs. And you can really drop anything in the data room. It's very flexible. If you scroll up to edit data room, from a company standpoint, it's really easy to drag and drop stuff. You click on add file. All of this is very scalable, and from a kind of investment banker standpoint, the company can do a lot of the work, and the investors can come and look at everything, and so it is pretty simple, I think. If you click on edit permissions, we actually built in a set of permissions so that certain files might be more sensitive than others. So for instance, some companies we work with might have a patent that they're a little bit more careful about who they show it to, and so you could drop that in the miscellaneous folder and click on custom, and what that does is it forces investors to actually request access to that folder in order to get it, and you can grant them access on an individual by individual basis, as you can see on the bottom. So it's very flexible, and every company is different, so every fundraise is different, so it's worked really well. This is one of my favorite features. It's called Meetings, and this basically allows you to host. We built this all ourselves as well. It allows you to host a live roadshow with investors throughout the country and with the company. So you can see here, we recently had a roadshow with 19 accredited investors all across the country. That's the CEO, Stefan Jacob of Kembrel, and he basically walked through his pitch deck to investors everywhere, and then at the end of it, there were 19 investors that you can see on the right asked a bunch of due diligence questions, and he answered them live on the spot. So, I mean, to me, things like this are really the way things are going as far as capital formation, and it's pretty incredible to log into something like this and have this type of a tool. Okay, so if we go back up in FAQs, click on FAQs there. So, I mean, one of the things have certainly found is that investors ask the same types of questions most of the time. 90% of the stuff gets repeated, and if you're a company, you're sending the same files to everybody over and over, so the data room is nice. You're also answering the same questions over and over, so we have consolidated it all in one place where any investor that's interested can ask a question. Right when the question gets posted, you can have it go directly. You can have an email go directly to the company, so they come on and answer the question, or you can also have it come to you if you're an investment banker, and you can answer the question on their behalf. But it's all in one place, and other investors can kind of benefit from that, and they can add to the discussion. So this has worked out well. So that is basically the due diligence tool. That's the due diligence tool set. I'm now going to show you my favorite part, which is the online investment flow. So if we click on Invest in the top right, basically what we've done is we've made investing in private businesses as easy as buying a stock online. And as everybody in this room probably knows, that there are a lot of implicit challenges with that, stuff like KYC, OFAC checks, Patriot Act checks, AML. There's payments, there's escrows, there's a lot of stuff, and we've spent a lot of time over the past year and 3 months making that very streamlined and simple. So I'll walk you through it. So basically, there are usually two types of investors. They're either investing as an individual, or they're investing maybe in a partnership with their wife or through an LLC that they've set up. So you can see you can either invest as an individual or you can invest on behalf of an entity. If you're very, very non-tech savvy, you also can invest offline. So we pretty much have catered this to everybody. As Seed Invest, we have people who are investing 10 grand that are 30 years old, that are pretty tech savvy, that are comfortable investing online. We also have people that are 65 that are investing 50 grand that like to use offline. So we've tailored it towards, I think, everybody. We spent a lot of time on that. So if we click, let's invest as an individual. So here, as an investment banker or an advisor, you can set the minimum investment amount. Let's invest 10 grand. Feeling a little, spending too much money lately. Okay, so we're investing 10 grand. So here is basically where we do online identity verification. So basically once my information is entered in, we're running a live KYC check. So we're matching the person's identity versus we're all public databases. And we're also doing an automatic OFAC check for AML purposes and a Patriot Act check. So we're running it versus OFAC database. We're doing all this instantaneously. It typically takes, I'd say, less than 15 seconds, and we've gotten very effective at being able to do this all online. So anyone who's been through this process of doing KYC and AML will, I think, appreciate this. I think we certainly do. We've tried to do it both ways. So, so if we click Verify, Workspace, interesting. Go, hey, Sin, do Control Shift Tab, maybe. I'm not sure what you clicked on. All right, while he's doing that, he clicked on something else. So basically, anyways, so basically the things we'll do through the investment flow is enter your investment amount, and then we'll do the automatic check. And we actually have two types of identity checks. The first one will compare your information versus all publicly available databases. We typically are able to verify someone's identity 80% of the time through that. If that doesn't work, we have a second layer of a check where we will actually do what's called an out-of-wallet test. And we'll check your information. We'll ask you questions that only you would know the answer to, like what's your mother's maiden name, when did you move to this residence. So we'll do both of those layers. We've had a lot of issues with the internet, so I think that's what's going on right here. But Sin, if you go back to the if you go to the go to the next page. Click on Continue. Click on Verify here. We've had a lot of internet issues. That's why we were late. So this might not work. So just leave it here. I'll talk through the rest. If anyone's interested, we can show you the last 3 steps. We're going to be over there all day, so we can just walk you through it. But basically, after this page, when you click Verify and your identity is verified, we will take basically the person's name, email, address, and investment amount, and we'll automatically drop it into the legal docs online. So whether you're doing debt, preferred stock, common stock, convertible note, it's all customizable, and basically all the information will be dropped into the legal doc online. It's a shame this isn't working because it's probably the coolest part, but would love to show you later. But we'll basically drop it in the legal docs. You read it. You can actually sign the legal docs online with one click. It's all totally legally binding, and the legal docs will then be held in escrow. after that step, the next step is you enter in your bank account information. So we're integrated with an ACH payment provider that allows us to pull the investment amount from the investor's account. So we'll check. You enter your name, your bank name, checking or savings, and your routing number and account number, and then we'll basically pull the money from that account. And if you use escrow, we're integrated with an escrow service provider, and we'll send that money to the escrow account. And then once the transaction's closed, the money will be released from the escrow account into the issuer's account, and the company will countersign the legal docs, and they'll get the legal docs back. So again, I can show you all of that in a minute once we get better internet. But and then every investor has their own workspace, which is the last thing. So as an investor, I can kind of track any companies I'm looking at, and once I make investments, I basically will have access to what we call virtual data room, and it's a place where the company and all the investors have access to. And just like you saw the live kind of road shows, companies can do quarterly live virtual board meetings with all their investors wherever they're based on the internet, and they can do monthly reporting through our site, which is really efficient as well. So that is the basics. Again, I'd love to show you the last few steps because they're probably the most exciting. We'll be over there, but I'd love to take any questions. I'm sure there are a few. Yes.
I noticed you had a long one that investors would pop up. Obviously, you can suppress all that, correct?
Yeah, good question. So,
I don't like.
Yeah, no, great question. So he's asking about the first page. You saw like managers and investors. So so if you're an angel group, you actually want your members to be shown because it attracts other members that will pay fees to be part of your group. But if you're an investment banker, you definitely don't want that to be shown. So there's actually a button on settings where you can turn that off. Good question. Yes?
Your KYC backend, is that something you developed yourself or using a third-party vendor?
We're using a so we built a lot of it ourselves, but we're using a third-party vendor to run the checks.
Like ideology and experience.
Ideology, exactly. Good call. Yes.
Is Seed Invest itself a broker-dealer?
We're affiliated with the broker-dealer, so I'm a registered rep of a broker-dealer.
So does an issuer themselves need to be a broker-dealer, or can they go under your umbrella?
So the way it works is if you are a broker-dealer who's licensed, you can do the transactions privately without us. If you have a deal that you want to involve us in, then we can do it under our broker-dealer. But but obviously that involves a discussion. In the back.
Can you give me a little more color on your reception from FINRA on your accredited certification process?
Yeah, sure. So good question. What kind of feedback have we gotten from FINRA on our certification process? So as I'm sure nobody in this room is surprised by, FINRA is not like the most technologically advanced organization. So it's been a long educational process. We started speaking with them last summer, and have been kind of speaking with them for now about a year. And so it's been gradual. At first, there weren't a lot of welcoming arms, but over time, I think they've realized that this is coming and that things are changing. And so instead of just having a stiff arm now, it's kind of like, okay, well, walk me through this, and then how does, once Title II of the Jobs Act, which if people don't know about it is really important, which removes the 80-year ban on general solicitation. So once that kicks in pretty quickly, how are things going to be shared? And so I've written them some letters. I mean, we've been pretty helpful on that front. So I guess on as far as them and the SEC, I think they've been pretty welcoming and I think they like our process generally. Any other follow-ups on that? Maybe there's more specific questions, but the most important thing on KYC, on AML, and then also when it comes to Title II, on actually being able to share stuff online through online advertising or social media, the most important thing to FINRA is tracking everything. So we've actually shown them in the SEC that you can track way more by using an online platform than doing it offline, because if anybody looks at a document, our database keeps information on who looks at what documents, who's actually reading the legal docs, so stuff that you'd never be able to do offline. So stuff, I think they're starting to understand that it's pretty powerful and actually is helpful from an investor protection standpoint if you're doing it the right way. Yeah, in the front.
Is this only available to accredited investors in any place?
It's only available to accredited investors, yes. Yep.
Who's doing the blue sky compliance? Will you be providing that service or is the company?
It's the issuers that are responsible for filing with the individual states. So we'll let, after every transaction, we'll let them know automatically what states your investors are in, but it's up to the issuer to make those filings. Yes?
When you're wiring from the escrow account to the customer, to the issuer, and you simultaneously wire to the broker dealer?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so let's say you have a 10% fee. You can send 90% to the issuer, 10% to you as a broker-dealer right away. Yeah, it's just, it's in the escrow agreement, you just enter in your fee. Yeah, good question. Yes?
What is the charge for a broker-dealer to be on the platform?
So we're charging we charge a monthly fee, and it ranges depending on your activity, how many investments you're processing, et cetera. So it can range anywhere from I think $179 per month to $2,500 per month, depending on how active you are. We also typically charge I think just under $500 registration fee, but I actually was going to tell Emily this. We decided for any NIBA members, we're going to waive the registration fee. And to the extent we can get a lot of NIBA members to get on board, happy to work out something as far as a discount. I think it's the more people you can get to use this within your organization, whether it's NIBA or just your other networks, the more powerful it is. So.
And then what about for the issuer? What's the cost of the issuer?
So we don't charge issuers at this point, unless, like for us, if we're raising money from our investors, we'll charge a placement fee. But as the individual broker-dealer or investment banker, if you want to charge people to apply, that's up to you.
So can an issuer come directly to you, or they have to come to a broker-dealer?
They can come directly to us as well. Yeah.
Well, that means that you're the broker-dealer, right, in the deal with
Yeah, so I mean, the way to think about it, the best way is, let's say we have 5 different NIBA members that are using this. We're almost like our own broker-dealer. So if you have a company apply to you, you're the only one who can see that unless you share it with other NIBA members or with us. If you share the deal with us, we can show it to our investors and we can set our own fee split just like any broker-dealer would. But you can keep it private if you want to.
No, my question was, does the issuer need to be sponsored by a broker-dealer?
Oh, no, they do not.
No.
They do not.
Do you syndicate it as well?
Yeah.
Other broker dealers as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Database of investors?
Yeah, we have about 650 accredited investors, and we're growing at about 150 new investors a month right now. Yeah, so think about it. We're like a big angel group with active investors.
But that just bothered me, because if I put my clients on, are they going to your database?
No, they're your clients.
And then that accumulation number.
So the thing that we've done with other people is that if you want to keep your investors, that's fine. Or if you want, if you're okay with us showing your investors our deals and we pay you for it, then we can do it that way either. It's flexible. Different people have different kind of goals. Yes?
Is there some way that you are competing with us as a professional?
No, not at all. It really, the thing we've built, which is nice, is that if you have a deal, we have no access to that. It's your deal. If you want to share it with us and we have and you want us to show it to our investors, then we can help each other. But aside from that, it's your deal. And the same thing with us. When we have deals, we can syndicate it to you, and you have the full choice over whether or not it's a deal you want to participate in. So yeah, it's definitely not. I don't think it's competitive whatsoever. There are a few questions. Sorry.
Is it relegated to any type of industry space?
We're not. No. My co-founder worked at he did tech investing his career. I did everything aside from tech, so we'll kind of look. We can kind of look at anything. Yeah, we don't have an industry vertical at this point. There's certain verticals that have worked better for us so far, but we're not industry specific. Yes.
Yeah, all right. So I'm not a broker-dealer. I have an issuer.
Yeah.
I bring them to you. You act as the broker-dealer. CBS. Is then the license broken?
If you want to take a fee on it, are you saying?
No, I can't get paid for it.
Right, so then,
You would get the fee.
yeah,
You would get the fee.
yeah,
I would work out some other compensation with the issuer that has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
I'm on the salary, right?
right, yeah,
So, okay. Now, on the other hand, I have the same issuer, there's one of the NIBA members says, I'd like to underwrite that, but let's use seeding funds. How would that work? Because he's not.
yeah, so if he's the underwriter, just like you saw the View Trade group, it would be under View Trade. And so, if he has his own investors, he'd show it to his own investors.
Same thing, there's investors, we want your investors to see.
Then you'd syndicate it to us. So, yeah, exactly, yeah. So we do it that way so that if it's your deal, it's up to you whether or not you want other people to be kind of doing the deal with you. Just like it,
It's the smallest deal you can do on in terms of private placement.
we did a company raised $140,000 on our platform in 7 days, one of our early ones, so that was the smallest one. Thanks.
And
Yeah.
we've got other presentations we need to get to, so if people have further questions, where
Yeah,
will you be set up at?
we'll be right next door. We'll be here for a while, so yeah, just happy to talk through this. I'm happy everyone has questions. So thanks a lot for having us, and look forward to talking to everyone more about this.
Thank you.
Thanks.